So I've made my way this time into the Yenkathala Grasslands, which are about 60 kilometers from the capital city of Hyderabad, and this time in search of the Indian fox. Now, these grasslands are home to as many as 191 bird species and numerous wildlife species like the Indian grey mongoose I've documented in an earlier video. And in winter, these spectacular grasslands also host some beautiful migrant harriers, which too I have documented in a separate video. Both videos I'll link, as cards on the top right hand you know, corner of this video. But this today is about the Indian fox. Now, these foxes I've actually come across by accident while I was photographing the harriers earlier. When I saw some late in the evening, I think a couple of trips back. I've been here a few times, so a couple of trips back, I saw these harriers, the Montagu's harriers especially, chase the fox to a particular point on the grasslands. Thankfully, that particular spot was not very far, so I could make my way there. So I've come back to that particular point where I think these foxes have a den, and today I'm basically parked very uncomfortably on some rocks and watching these foxes come out and play. So here's my video of these fox cubs. A quick disclaimer. There is some focus. I came in here at night, so obviously there are some focus issues, and I was perched very uncomfortably on some very rocky ground. So my 600 mm was moving quite a bit. So please excuse the shake and any zooming in and out of focus, but just watch these kids go about frolicking and playing in the well before dawn and into dawn and right into the morning. Now, these wild canids in India are the most underrepresented large mammal group in terms of research and conservation focus. India is home to 3 fox species and 3 subspecies. The 3 main species are the Indian fox, the Tibetan sand fox, and the red fox. And globally, there are about 23 fox species distributed across 6 genera. The fox species of India occupy a range of habitats, including arid areas, grasslands like these, and agricultural fields, and even snow-capped mountains. The Indian fox you see here, Vulpes bengalensis, also known as the Bengal fox, is a species of Asian fox endemic to the Indian subcontinent. It is a medium-sized fox with an elongated muzzle with black hair in small patches on the upper part of the muzzle. It's clearly visible now as these 2 kids are sitting, and its large bushy tail has a black tip and is the most prominent feature. Now, like I said, these foxes are endemic to the Indian subcontinent, and they range from the Himalayan foothills and Terai of Nepal through the south portion of the Indian peninsula, not including the Western and Eastern Ghats, and from southern and eastern Pakistan to eastern India and southern Bangladesh. And these foxes are predominantly crepuscular and nocturnal, which is why I decided to get into these grasslands at night, well before these foxes, at least I thought these foxes will be up and about, or at least they'll be out hunting. But by the time I got here, the female was already out and about. I saw her as I was making my way in, but then she came back later. The male, there was a moment in time when I think the male, I think, darted out and left. I think that was when I was figuring out whether to keep my flashlight on or turn it off, and I eventually turned it off. I think the male made its way out then. Sometimes these individuals may become active during cool periods of daytime, but they typically spend the warmer daylight hours under vegetation or in subterranean dens. They use three distinct types of den: basic compact dens with two openings used for very brief rest periods, complex dens with multiple openings, which I think this one is. It has multiple rooms and escape routes, and dens under rocks or rock crevices. Now, as the light improved here, obviously my focus performance improved. It grabbed focus and then stayed on, which was what I think I was having issues with because it refused. It's very difficult to see. I could only make out very vaguely what the foxes were doing, and I was trying my best. But now, with as the daylight increased, it became easier to retain focus on these kids as they as they played about like this. It's an amazing experience to get so close to them. You're seated fairly close to them. I was closer. Decided to move back because one, I was struggling with focus, and they kept they were too quick and too close. So this I think is a good distance for me to keep focus on them and then also track their movements. This one's the brave one. He keeps coming out far more than the other cub, which is shy, very shy. Playful cubs, but both of them. I think it. Here's. I think that's one of the harriers which just flew overhead, and immediate reaction from the cub was to head back to shelter. I think the one of the adults is making its way back because I think I can hear it now. I can't see it. The grass is pretty high, and I think the fox is making its way from my right. I'll try and pick it up as soon as I see it. So you might see some abrupt movements, and then obviously keeping it in focus will be a struggle, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, this Indian fox is quite common. It occurs for some reason at fairly low densities across its range, and the populations depend on prey abundance and disease. Very fluctuating populations. Also, now the lack of habitat protection is perhaps one of the greatest threats to this Indian fox. The Indian and the desert fox occupy less than 40 and 50% of their original habitats. Another problem I saw here, and I'm sure it's prevalent in other areas where these foxes are, is the presence of free ranging dogs. There were three dogs which made their way, but I think they smelled me and decided to avoid the general area, so which was good. But obviously, free ranging dogs are a threat to these foxes. There is also a citizen science initiative called the Wild Canids India Project, who document foxes and other canids across the country. And they also share relevant information about identifying these canids and understanding their world. The objective is aimed at making ecological and conservation assessments of wild canids in India. And the project focuses on 8 species and subspecies of wild canids. Now, I'll just stop talking and then let's just watch this kid. I think he's found something that he's playing with. He's throwing it up and around, and then chasing it around. So I'll leave you for now with these foxes. Just enjoy the show.